Come on. It's fast breaks. Listen. We back with another one.
Fast breaks, yeah, we coming with the takes. Never early, never late, but we always push the pace, yeah. And we really study tape, y'all just view the highlights. Man, we really watching games, yeah. You just watch from the stands. We run 3-man weeks, Paul, Dre, and Allen, yeah. Way more than a fan. We got love for the game. We don't have to pretend. Got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. I'm the run the fast break. Throw me the outlet. Yeah, we got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. Time to run the fast break. Throw me the outlet. We on the brink. It's fast break. We on the brink. It's fast break. Let's go. Get it up the glass, I'm the run the fast break. Throw me the outlet. Get it up the mail like you get it up the glass. I'm the run the fast break. Throw me the outlet.
We'll be bumping this in the club one day. Don't worry.
Top of the morning. Wake up. We here. You've chosen us this beautiful Saturday morning, November 23rd, 2024, as your audio adventure to get your day going. If you listen to this back, maybe you at work right now. Maybe you on the grind right now. Maybe you in the gym right now. Maybe you are brewing some coffee and getting ready to put some oat milk creamer in it right now.
You're ridiculous.
We hope that we can provide you a pleasurable audio experience while you do whatever it is you got to do. You know who it is. It's Ro, the hostess with the mostest, and you know this man. To my right is King Dre Andre, you know the God. Right above him is Alan the man. And rounding out the triple threat weave triangle offense is Coach Paul. We go by ensemble and moniker, often known to the world as Fast Breaks. Let me get a boy. Get up. Outlet! Boom! Jumping right into it, fellas. There were a couple good games this week that I want to talk about.
Wait, you're not going to ask me on my week? That's cool.
No, season 2, we just get into it, brother. We don't have time for all that. These listeners are here to. We're not a lifestyle podcast. These listeners care about basketball.
That's a fact.
Okay. This week there were a couple of good games that I want to react to. The first, probably the marquee game, whether it was or not, might be part of this discussion, but nominally probably should have been the marquee game of the week. At the time, and this is kind of giving it away, but at the time, undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers went into the Boston TD Garden to play the reigning champ Celtics and lost 120-117 despite Donovan best efforts in the last 45 seconds of the game to try to literally win the game by himself. Alan, I know you got a chance to catch most of this game. Your impressions of both teams. I know it's early, but did we learn anything about any players, about the teams, any sort of long-term judgments that we have about where these teams stand in terms of power players in the East and in the league overall?
Just really quick, I'll say that I think these are the two best teams in the East, and I'm gonna say I was really impressed by Donovan Mitchell. I think he significantly improved this year.
In what ways?
I think he's way more aggressive now
Mhm.
as opposed to like last year. I think he has a real like leadership mentality with the team, so to speak. And I think he took a step above, and it really seems like he's chosen to like step up and be the leader of his team, and like wants to really win the championship. That's where, like last year, I don't know if I saw that from him. I don't know if people was talking about last year with his like contract situations. Maybe that was it. But this year, it seems like everybody's focused. Everyone like is hungry, even though they lost the game. But I was impressed with Donovan Mitchell.
Everyone is locked in, and there does seem to be a change of vibe with everyone knowing that they're going to be there for at least 4 years. Other fellas, anything that you learned about the Celtics, or is this what's to be expected that an undefeated team should lose when they run into the defending champs?
That's exactly right. And I'm not going to lie. There's something about the way the Celtics are operating that's reminding me. Maybe it's Jason Tatum. Maybe it's the narrative. But there's so much of the way they're operating right now, which is reminding me of that second Warriors year, like after they won the first chip, the year that Steph Curry was undisputed MVP. Because there's something about the
73-9.
73-9. And I don't know if the Celtics are going to do that, but they're 12-3 right now, which is something we don't talk about enough.
Because Cleveland was 14-0 or something like that.
Right. I think they're 15-1 now.
Yes.
And they're still a fantastic team, don't get me wrong. But there's something about watching the Celtics that are just so. It's like, remember last year when we were talking about how we are seeing Jason Tatum develop into a guy that actually controls every aspect of the game?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that a lot on display this season. It's not more evident than when he's going or when they are going against a team that they actually and probably do consider like a top-notch team. They were able to pull away. It might have been only by 3 points, but this is a team that had the best record in the league, and they took them down. They were the first.
No, they pulled away. There was literally in the last, I want to say 9. They were up maybe 8 or so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Donovan Mitchell went on a personal like 7-0 run in literally the last 90 seconds of the game to try to win it. So that's why it was only 3. Like when the game was what some would call decided, it was like 8-10.
Yeah,
and that just goes more in what I'm saying. They are in control right now, and I want to see how that continues to go. But listen, we've been talking about how we don't know who the best player in the league is. Give them another year or two. I think we might find out.
I don't know about a year or two. That was the question I was going to ask. When Jason Tatum shows up in the way he does in a game like this, where in 38 minutes he goes 11-22 from the field, 6-10 from 3, for 33 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Is there a player better than that?
Jokic, probably.
Like when he's that form of himself. Like what really is our like we can speak in the broad terms of like who is the best player in the world, but if we're taking like just versions of players, is anyone better than that version of Jason Tatum that showed up against Cleveland?
I'd say there are 2 players that are potentially Giannis, locked in Giannis, Game 7 Giannis that dropped 50. Yes.
I mean Game 7 50s are also a Tatum thing, but continue. Yeah, he's up there.
And Jokic. Jokic, anytime his horses are about to lose and he's tight.
My thing with that though is that you gotta bring two-way into it when we're parsing hairs like that.
No, you're right. You're right.
And so
Jokic isn't a two-way.
That would be the edge I give Tatum is when we're talking about that version of Tatum. When that version of Tatum shows up, he's also becomes kind of a lock.
He does. He does. You can't really score on him easily.
Embiid.
For as well as Donovan Mitchell played, he did go 13 of 29, so he and 3-11 from 3, so he kind of had to hunt.
That's a fact.
Yeah, he needed to hunt to get it. Paul, you brought up Joel Embiid, honestly,
and Tatum guarded him a fair amount.
Sorry, Barrow, but Paul, you brought up Joel Embiid. Honestly, I don't want to hear nothing about Joel Embiid. Go fix your home.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
You got some house cleaning to do, my boy. I don't want to hear nothing about Joel Embiid.
But we are talking about versions. So so you're saying a peak version, the peak version that we'll see of Joel Embiid is right there with him.
That's one of the greatest players of all time. Peak Joel Embiid.
Yeah, but what do you say? Pardon me, to the point
short. It's like one every 67 games.
But what do you say to Dre's point about control of team and dominance and control of the game. Like I feel like Embiid at his best is dominant, but I feel like he dominant and they lose. I feel like you cannot beat the Celtics when you get this version of Tatum.
Because the Celtics are better than the Sixers and have been for years.
That's fair.
And I don't know if I agree with that, Pharaoh. Only because, and I don't know whether, how do I say it? Like, I don't think it's anything specific about like Tatum or even the teammates. I think it's just their playing style. I don't think they're very like unbeatable even when Tatum's dominating like this. You know what I mean?
You don't think they
say more?
I don't
Say
think a
more.
double negative.
Like, I don't think they're very unbeatable. I think they're very beatable, is what I'm trying to say.
When he's in that mode, when he's in that Tatum mode.
Yeah, even if he is in that mode, and I think it's mostly because of their playing style. Because and we kind of saw it in that Cleveland game because they were way up at first, and it's not that hard to come back at them. Because all it takes is them, you lock in on defense and they miss a couple of shots, you kind of get back in the game with them. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Like you said, you asked a question about like something long term. We learned about like the Celtics. I want to be very clear when I say this. I think the Celtics are the best team still. And I think the Celtics are a very good team. But so I know Paul has said this in the past. I don't think the Celtics are a super team by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, no, Paul's whole argument is that the Celtics are a super team, and that's what he uses to discredit Jason Tatum.
I know, and I'm saying I don't think they're anywhere near a super team.
No, you're right.
Especially after what I watched, like.
Well, they don't have KP, so we do got to acknowledge that they don't have KP.
That's a good point. When I watch them, and I'm watching like other super teams I've seen in the past from like years ago, like just for example's sake, like the Warriors. I know that's a whole different monster, but like I can't put these two teams in the same category. That feels crazy to me.
I agree. Yeah. The only pushback I'll say is that you're still getting 20-point nights out of Al Horford.
You are,
and he had 20. He had 20 against Cleveland, which is kind of like I thought he was going to retire. Wasn't he supposed to retire after the chip?
Well, you know the thing is,
he never said that.
The thing about Al Horford is he's evolved his game in such a way. Like if you want to learn for a center how to elongate your game, you should watch him and you should watch Brooke. Don't do this. You should watch him and you should watch Brooke Lopez because they have demonstrated a fact of how. Because the thing is, and this is what kills big guys. It's like when they're down in the paint so much, their knees start getting beat up. Like just like being down in the post so much, getting all those boards, and you got to stop, my brother. You have to stop.
Stop getting boards. It's crazy for a big man.
That's not what I said.
You said get it on
the. He's talking to me, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Hey, but no.
I know. I listened back to the last pod, so my ears are primed for nonsense.
Hey, listen, man, listen. No, but I'm serious. Being like a stretch at this point, like, and still being able to just reserve like your physicality for defense, I think that's the best way, and that's how Al Horford honestly is able to do it. He's a true corner threat. You can't leave him open at all, and that's why, like, to Alan's point, they're still such a solid team, and it's only going to get better when KP comes back. But all that being said, you put them against like 2020 Miami Heat, and they're probably getting smacked. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I want to shift gears and analyze Cleveland in their first loss. We gave them a lot of love. We gave Kenny Atkins a lot of love. Two things stood out to me. One, Evan Mobley is a mismatch for the Celtics. He proved that last year in the playoffs, and he did it again in this game. He almost had a triple-double since 4 assists away is significant. He had 22, 11 rebounds and 6 assists, a steal and a block, and on 61.5% from the field. The thing I noticed is he played that well, and he only got 13 shots. Meanwhile, it seems like Boston is Darius Garland's Achilles heel. He goes 3 of 21, 0 of 6 from 3 for only 8 points, and he was a negative 19. So my question is does there need to be a broader shift in play style to emphasize Evan Mobley, or is it a specific team game planning issue where Kenny has to realize when playing the Celtics they got to play through Evan Mobley more and try to make Darius Garland a facilitator. Because I want to be fair, Darius Garland's played very well this year, but he seems to never be able to play well against the Celtics. And it's tough because you got Derek White and Drew Holiday out there.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Hold on.
Let Paul go. Let Paul
You
go.
can go in a second, Paul. Can I just add this?
No, let Paul go. Let Paul go.
Let me ask you a question.
Man, I knew he was going to do this.
What was Jared Allen?
Go, Paul. Go, Paul.
What was Jared Allen's stats?
10 points, 11 rebounds.
10 points.
6,
that's it.
5 or 6 from the field.
Okay. 6 shots. That's it.
But if I'm talking about shot distribution, Evan Mobley is higher on my priority list than Jared Allen, if I'm being honest.
Here's the issue, though. Here's the issue, right? You're playing. See, this is why the Cavs are so good right now in the regular season, right? And first, before I say that, let me say this: there's a narrative that's brewing in the NBA online sphere that Darius Garland doesn't show up in big games. So let's watch that. I don't know if it's true yet because he hasn't played in enough.
It's definitely true against the Celtics. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Evan Mobley seems to play really well against the Celtics, and Darius Garland seems to play pretty bad. And so for that to be historically true, and then you still come into this game and DG shoots 21 times and Evan Mobley only shoots 13 times and Jared only shoots 6 times, is that a team philosophy change, or is it simply a matter of Kenny needs to create a specific game plan for Boston?
That team is not built to win a chip in 2024. They're basically the Portland Trailblazers with Damon and CJ.
No.
Yes, they are. They're not.
They didn't have an Evan Mobley. They never had an Evan Mobley. That's kind of my point.
But see, Evan Mobley, all right.
Is that the problem? Do they play much like Portland?
Evan Mobley is great, right? But what makes them strong is the fact that they have those 2 guards plus Evan and Jared. If Jared is not going to be as effective, then the team just becomes another nice team.
So that's my question. Is it that they're not built nice?
Hold on, Farrell. They're built like the Trailblazers, but they got 2 bigs in 2024.
Paul, before you go,
hold on. When you look at,
I want to clarify what you're trying to say because I think it might be confusing. Are you actually talking about how they're built or how they play? Because simply the presence of those 2 bigs make them built differently. But is it that they don't play like they have those 2 bigs?
They have to play like that because of how they're built. In 2024, 2 bigs do not work. Because what happens is you don't have enough spacing, right? When you look at how the Cavaliers play,
man, keep going.
Look at how the Cavaliers play, right? Darius Garland runs off a screen, right? Dribbles off of a screen, pull up 3. Donovan Mitchell dribble off a screen, pull up 3. That's most of their offense.
No, they move the ball really well. I think they're pretty high in the assists rankings of the league, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of their offense is give the ball to Evan Mobley here and there, but run off screens and shoot 3s. I've seen the Cavaliers play a good amount of times.
No, you're not wrong. I think that, they're a little bit. They're top 6 in assists in the league. So
the same reason why Donovan Mitchell was able to go on a 7-0 run is the same reason they're not going to win a chip. That's not good offense.
But Paul, let me toss this to Allen. I hear what Paul's saying, and I agree with him, but I think that's a matter of game. Evan Mobley is too talented to say they're not built to play a different way. I hear Paul saying that the modern NBA mandates they play the way they do, and they're not good enough at it. But we've sort of been having this ongoing series conversation about how there is no dominant play style in the NBA today. It's just about which team masters their style in a way that no other team can compete with, and then everyone tries to copy. So my question is, do the Kenny Atkinson and Cleveland need to be bolder and actually assert the play style that they're built for and try to get the league to have to conform to it, kind of how like they used to do in old decades, where you didn't try to mirror other teams. You tried to become so good at your style that it was a better style than your opponent, right? Mm-hmm. And every time they play the Celtics, I feel like this comes to a head because Evan Mobley plays great and Darius Garland plays poorly. Like, I don't know if you to say that means that they need to change their roster. Like, you have a player on your team that's a fringe all-star that plays really well against this team that you can't seem to beat. Is it not just a shift in play style to spam, if you will, that mismatch more and tell DG, hey, bro, like when we play them, it's not your game, it's not your series, dog. I need you to be a point guard. Like, can't they do that? Why isn't that possible?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It is possible. I agree with you, Farrell, in the fact that like the way the Celtics are built, it's kind of the best way to go against a small guard like Darius Garland, who drives a lot, who doesn't particularly take that many mid ranges from what I see, but like the Celtics is all switch defense, and they have 4 big wing defenders who are very good defenders, and that's why he's always going to struggle with them. He's not particularly strong like Donovan Mitchell is. My bad, I'm hoarse this week.
You're okay. He's not an athletic specimen either.
You said what, Andre?
He's not an athletic specimen by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, he's not super athletic. He's not strong. So he's going to struggle with the Celtics. And I think you're right, Farrell, that they need to play against this specific time matchup. They do need to play through Evan Mobley more. And to your point, Paul, I understand what you're saying about spacing, but that was like the big knock on Evan Mobley last year because he didn't improve his 3 last year. And that's the biggest difference I think I've seen for him this year. I don't know what the percentages are, but I feel like he's taking a lot more threes and he's shooting it better from what I've seen.
He went 33% in this particular game, but I think overall he is his percentage has increased from last season.
He's not a big threat.
I'll tell you.
He's a better one. He's a better one from last year for us. He's taking more.
But the lack of his 3 doesn't detract from his effectiveness. I mean, he 22 and 11 against them on 60% from the field overall. So like, does he need to shoot the 3 to be able to? You know what I mean? Like,
not his own effectiveness, but then you talk about like other players like Jared Allen, and that gives Jared Allen more space to at least get a couple more buckets.
But again, not to cut you up, but again, and I'm gonna let you go on this to set you up again. Again, the only I would understand that if multiple people struggled, and you're saying it's because of the lack of spacing. But when you look at these stats, the only person that struggled was Darius. Jared Allen went 5 of 6 on his shots. Evan Mobley went 7 of 11 on his shots. 66% overall, and even though Donovan Mitchell chucked a little bit, he scored 35 points. The only person that couldn't score was Darius, but he shot 21 times.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I was just bringing that up because of Paul's point about the spacing and Jared Allen and everything. But like I said, I do think they do need to play more through Evan Mobley in these type of matchups because, again, like you said, he's a mismatch nightmare. Not nightmare, but he's a mismatch problem.
He's 38% from the 3 this year. Correct. He's 38% from the 3. I think that's a big. Really that's big. Like you shouldn't have any problems.
But he's not even standing at the 3-point line like that. We all know he doesn't. He's not a 3. He can hit a 3, but he doesn't take a lot.
But let me take you back, and I want to pose this question.
And wait, hold on, real quick. And I'm gonna say he should. I'm saying they will benefit if they had Cat instead of Jared Allen. That's what I'm saying.
I get it, but I feel like you're
because you want another 5 out.
Yeah, you're falling victim to thinking that you have to beat the Celtics at their game, and I just no. I don't think the champions of the last 5 years have shown that that's what you do. And to that point, I want to go to Andre. Before the Celtics won the championship, what was the biggest hurdle they had to get over? And it wasn't the Warriors in the finals. It was a team in the East they could not get past.
Team of the East, they couldn't
get past. There were 2 teams that they could not.
Are you talking about the Heat?
It was the Heat or the Bucks.
Yeah, but they got past more than enough times.
They got past the Bucks a couple times, but those are the 2 teams they struggle with the most historically, right? What I think both those teams present a specific mismatch in a size position, right? Yeah. Like they could not deal with Bam, and they could not deal with Giannis. So to think that Cleveland needs to try to beat Boston in their sort of pace and spray style and open it up more and shoot more threes when it's been proven that the way to beat Boston is through size and strength, and they have that. You see it? What's your thoughts on that?
So I think the best way that this would actually get demonstrated is when the Phoenix Suns go against the Boston Celtics, and here's why: because the Phoenix Suns have almost exactly the same build-up, starting 5-wise, that is, as the Cleveland Cavaliers. The biggest difference is you don't got to go tell Kevin Durant to shoot. He'll light your ass up. He 100% will. And that's going to be such a specific mismatch because Jason Tatum won't be able to do anything about it. And there's very little people you can throw on him. And I'm not saying Evan Mobley. We're talking about player comparisons and who everybody can be. And I threw out KG and we got baby AD. But if Evan Mobley is looking to model his game after anybody with his size and his figure and the way he can move, he should not look past Kevin Durant. He needs to see. Hold on. Because he can hit the shot. He is very fit. It's not a pure 100% way. But the way that they, particularly on a Celtics team, and this is what Kenny Atkinson would need to match up, how's KD moving? What spots is he getting to? Those are the same ways you have to use Evan Mobley to beat a team like this. And you have to take the ball out of Darius Garland.
I disagree. I think he should look to play more like an AD and be a post-dominant guy. Right? I think because once you exhibit guard skills, you submit yourself to the Boston switching defense, and they're gonna put a Jaylen Brown on you. And then if you have to play in front of those guys, I think you're way less effective than you can't switch if Evan Mobley's gonna go down to the block.
No, I agree with you. I'm not
you know
saying.
what I mean?
No, I do. I'm not saying
Jared Allen.
100%.
Same thing. You cannot switch if Jared Allen is gonna get a low post look.
Well, I'm saying he can start out that way, and then once they make the switch to him, I'm gonna put a smaller guy on him. Then you get him to the post. Then you start letting him cook and start using those big man assets they have because he's really a combination kind of player. Now we aren't that. In a lot of ways he's growing, but in some ways he's still a little. Excuse me.
I mean, he is young. He's definitely still learning his game. He's only been. This is his 4th year.
But no, I mean, it was like what you and Alan have put forth. There is a problem with the fact that Darius Garland is taking 21 shots. That's not the game plan going against the 2 best guard defenders in the league. That just can't be.
I mean, I think about last year, we were predicting that the Nuggets were going to meet the Celtics in the finals, right?
And I think if they did, they would have had a different result than what happened.
We were saying, that the problem there was going to be Jokic, and every time we watched them play those 2 matchups, that kind of proved to be the issue, right? And we said the same thing when it looked like the Timberwolves might make the finals, right? Like the Timberwolves struggled to beat the Celtics in the regular season last year, but the one time they beat them, what happened? Cat played strong down low, right? And utilized his mismatch. When they try to play through Ant and be a perimeter-oriented team, the Celtics could outpace them. These are things to think about. We don't have to come to a conclusion. I know it's still early. The other game that
hold on. Let me just say.
In closing.
Yeah. My point, right, is not necessarily about teams just being stubborn about their styles versus conforming. My point is about finding a system that works best for not only for your best players but your role players, right? I think that with the roster construction they have, they can't find a system that works for Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell because they all don't fit. Donovan and Darius could fit. The problem to me is those 2 bigs. Jared Allen, you could help off of Jared Allen when Evan Mobley's on the low block. You can help. You see what I'm saying? Like I think
I know exactly what you're saying. My counter to that would actually be the Celtics because I think because Darius Garland has been an all-star, you're thinking that the system has to fit to emphasize him, and I think he's like look at Derek White. I think there's no reason, and not to say Darius, like I don't know how people feel about what Derek White's status is in the league, but I think as you play against the Celtics, if Darius Garland plays a Derek White style, and for that game on the shot distribution chart, you emphasize Donovan and Evan. I think an offense built around Donovan and Evan does fit. It's just that Darius Garland has to accept being Derek White in that offense.
It's not really built around them because if it was built around them, you will have players that complement them. I think those 2 bigs don't complement each other at all.
I don't know if I fully agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree, but let's move on. We can keep watching it over the year and talk about that. Paul, I'll come back to you to talk about Knicks Phoenix. That was a good game this week.
That's a fact.
Tell me if we
There
learned
you go.
anything or anything that impressed you.
We're winning the ship. I keep telling y'all, we're winning the chip.
Let's go. Let's go.
The Lakers are not winning the chip. The Cavs are not winning the chip. The Celtics are not winning the chip. The Knicks are winning the chip. And here's why.
Talk to me.
Jalen Brunson and Cat, the first two guard and center combo to have 35 plus in a game, or was it 30 plus?
34 and 36. 34 and 36.
34. Yeah, so 30 plus in a game since Shaq and Kobe. Right?
Yeah, they're the best guard center combo in the league right now.
In the league, right?
There is no other one.
There is actually Jamal and Jokic, and they are trash.
Jamal is a fraud. So
Oh,
Hey, brother, come on, man.
listen,
I mean, it should be Damon Giannis. It should be.
there. Come on, man.
It should,
Giannis is in the
stop
center.
it. Stop it.
Hey, come on.
Stop it. It
Come
should
on,
be.
man.
It should be Damon Giannis. bro.
Giannis is in the center though.
I know. I said what I said. It
Okay,
should
okay,
be.
okay,
It
okay,
should be Damon Giannis.
okay. But listen, all they have to figure out, we are one of the best
What about
offenses.
Bron and AD? Keep going. I'm sorry.
Nah.
We are one of the best offenses in the league, and I think we're gonna end up being the top offense in the league. The thing with the Knicks is they just have to shore up their defense, and that's happening as we speak. Every game they look better defensively. So a Tom Thibodeau team is not gonna be bad defensively.
No, they're not.
I'm still concerned about the pick and roll defense. That's the only thing I'm concerned about, though. Like literally, we have no.
How do you think
the
this
bench?
team-
I think the bench being weaker, it shouldn't be, because we have too many players in the starting lineup that you could put on the bench to elevate the bench, right? Just rotate. Let Mikal play more with the bench. Even
Now,
Josh Hart,
Paul.
let Josh Hart play more with the bench.
Paul,
That's the solution right there. And Deuce has been out the last few games, right? So I don't see anybody in our way. This is the thing with this is what I was saying about the Cavs, right? They don't have players that could all eat and complement each other. The Knicks do. The Knicks absolutely do, right? And when you have that, you do see an elevation in shot. In you see more dispersed shots, right? Everybody takes a more equal amount of shots, right? And everybody has better looks. And that's what's going on with the Knicks offense. We are going to be unstoppable. I didn't think Cat was this much better than Julius. I'm not even going to hold you. I knew it was better.
We told you that was a ridiculous take. Like,
I didn't know he was this much better though. This is crazy. He's looking like Ewan with a 3. Like
Andre, real quick before you go, I kept telling y'all that the Timberwolves, like y'all said that the Timberwolves were trying to control Cat by bringing Gobert, and I was like, you are ruining him. Cat is a center.
Yeah, facts.
Cat is a center, and he's meant to have the paint to himself.
Facts. I think he didn't want it though. I think him and the Timberwolves didn't want it, and then once he saw what was going on, he said, "All right, As a matter of fact,
no, I think that was
real
actually.
quick.
I think them getting Gobert was actually the first sign that they didn't believe in him, and that he was going to be on his way out.
I don't think so.
No, I kind of.
matter of
Now
fact,
that we're looking back, I kind of agree with that. I'm not gonna lie.
if Mitchell Robinson was healthy, he might be powerful.
Hell no.
No, that's actually.
Look at how.
Robinson
To your
was
point,
healthy
but Paul, to your
to
point,
start
look
the
at how
year.
the offense looks.
On
Look at how the offense looks with Cat being the center.
Listen, I'm not saying that they should, right? I wanted Mitchell to come off the bench anyway.
I agree. That's how it
I'm
has to
saying
be.
if to start the year, Mitch was healthy, I 100% believe Cat would have been the power forward. Now when Mitch comes
I think
back,
you would have eventually gotten your way to this lineup anyway.
right. Now with Mitch coming back and us seeing what's going on, there's no way. Cat's
So
a starting
Paul, just to emphasize your point, Knicks right now 5th in the league in scoring at 118 points. I'm going to look up some offensive efficiency.
The offensive rating is higher than that, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up. But while I do that, Dre, your take.
My take is Paul's right. We're gonna win the chip.
There we go.
But my only concern is actually this. when Mitch does come back, we're gonna have a string of games where we're gonna have to figure this out again because I don't know. Knowing Tibbs, like he loves defense, he truly loves Mitch. He really does. And I don't see him putting him on the bench to start. I see him coming back, maybe one game on the bench and then going to the starting lineup and messing up the flow.
He's done it before, though.
What?
When the last year when Mitch was injured during the year and he came back during the year.
Yeah, he put him on the bench. But that was a different team last year. I don't know if Mitch is the player that we need coming. Like, I don't know how he fits off the bench because then you're also going to have Precious coming off the bench. Unless your plan is just to.
Precious is going to be a forward this year. I
don't
know if you notice, he put the ball on the floor.
Yeah, no, he is. He is. He has to be.
I think Mitch as your backup center is perfect because then you get 48 minutes of rim protection.
Right. No, I agree with you. Where's our offense coming from off the bench?
Deuce.
That's your problem.
Deuce.
Yes. Just Deuce.
Tyler Kolick, if he gets minutes. Campaign with his trust.
You know he's not getting minutes.
Guys, let's be real. When it gets to the playoffs, let's be real. Tibbs is playing 7 men.
No, he's not getting minutes.
Bro, Paul, he's been your coach for long enough. You know how this goes. He's playing 7 guys.
Even if he plays more than 7 guys, he's not playing a rookie.
He's not going to play more than 7 guys.
He's not playing a rookie.
We have over a decade of evidence of Tibbs teams. He's not playing more than 7 guys in the playoffs.
This is the most talented team he's ever had.
Listen,
that might be true, but it don't matter.
No, it does. It does.
In terms of
the thing with Tibbs, quick, right, is you have to earn his trust, and it's hard for rookies to earn his trust. The rookies we have this year are earning his trust, though.
They are.
Every single one of them looks good in the minutes that they got. Every single one. Huck Porty looks. He should be playing over Sims, right? Tyler Kolick looks good. He's hitting his 3, and he's a playmaker. Dottie, I didn't expect Dottie to be as good from the 3-point line as he is. So we have pieces, right? I'm not saying that they're going to get heavy minutes, but I'm saying he has a lot of pieces to work with, and I think he doesn't. In the previous year, he didn't trust people like that. He didn't trust Obi. No matter what, he did not trust Obi because he didn't play hard defensively. This year, it's different. I know you think I'm just chatting, but
no, I don't think you're chatting. I think you're being hopeful and you're thinking from an objective basketball mindset. But we know that NBA coaches often don't break from their mold ever. Like there's very few coaches that have ever sort of switched up how they do things to adjust to the roster they have. Most coaches try to get the roster to adapt to what they want to do. So Leon may have given him a lot of pieces. Whether he's going to break out of his habits to use all of them, I think at the most remains to be seen. At the most. And regular season doesn't inform me because we've seen Tibbs go 10 deep in a regular season and go to 6-man rotation in a playoff. Right? And play guys 45 minutes. Like
that's because of injury. Like that was because like players were like last year Julius got injured and then Jalen Brunson got injured and then he didn't really have a lot of choices.
I know, but again, we're not talking about this is this man's MO for 4 teams now, right? So like you can tell me that the context of the Knicks last year made it so that's how it was, but you can't say that was true about the Bulls. You can't say that was true about the Timberwolves. Like he consistently is a short rotation playoff guy. And just to conclude
for D-Rose.
Yeah, in closing, the New York Knicks right now are second in the league in offensive rating behind the Cleveland Cavaliers with a 122.1 offensive rating. So,
I'm saying, are we going to get number 1, 2? Cavaliers going to slow down. They're not like that.
Jive. Listen, we are jiving really well. Not gonna lie.
In closing, the last game that we wanted to talk about was Denver. Who did we say?
The Suns.
Denver Mavs.
Denver Mavs, yes. Alan, you caught that game as well as me. What did you think?
Man, I know the Nuggets lost, man, but Nikola Jokic is different.
Yeah, first game back for Nikola Jokic. He was out for 4 straight games due to personal reasons. I know because he was on my fantasy team. And these bums announced that he was playing at 10:30. The way,
So your
the
team
way I
wasn't
ran
locked.
to my app, no, because the players are unlocked until the game tips. So I'm watching. So I watched the Warriors Pelicans, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this game too. So it goes to commercial, and then I hate how the NBA coverage skips everything now and just like takes you right to the tip. Pause. It's very annoying. So they come back from commercial, and I see him like tying his ring to his sneakers and like going to the scorer's table. And I was like, no. And I was like, the game technically hasn't started yet. So I tried to activate him off my IR, and they were like, yeah, he's activated. And then I went to move him, and they were like, effective tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God.
Dang.
And he put up 67 points.
Dang.
I'm sick to my stomach.
That's
but yes,
crazy.
go ahead.
That's crazy. Yeah, man, that man is different. I don't know what to say anymore at this point. He like Fleur just said, he came back from missing like 4 games. He was clearly tired and winded the whole game and still put up another triple-double. He had like 33, 17, and like 11 or something, or 12, or maybe, I don't know, 10. But
He had
How did
33,
Westbrook
17, and 10.
16, 4, and 1, I think.
16 and 4 on 5 of 13, like a solid bench player in 26 minutes.
yeah, and that's another thing. Westbrook finally figured out how to play like alongside. Yeah, he finally figured out how to play alongside Jokic too. He's looking good like near Jokic. He figured out.
Well, he was taking Jokic's role when
cut.
Jokic was out.
Yeah,
He was taking
that's
Jokic's role while Jokic was out, getting the triple doubles. So
Yeah,
I mean,
this is the most
running for
scoring minded. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
I was gonna say he needs to be in the running. I'm tired of him not getting the 6-man.
No.
I'm tired. I'm tired. All right.
Andre, no.
listen,
I'm tired.
Andre,
With every team he's on, every single team, and people
you
are just
deserve
gonna
every
act
single
like
team.
regular player.
Have y'all noticed this is the most scoring centric version of the Jokic Nuggets that I've ever seen?
Yes.
Yes, they kind of
It has to
Is
be.
that I was gonna say, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
Necessary.
Yeah, it's a bad thing, but he kind of has to do it. It's actually I think he's even better on defense than he's been in the past too. I feel like he's doing everything on his team, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Because the team's whack right now.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
This
team
team
is whack right
this
now.
team is pretty whack.
Jamal Murray in 40 minutes. I know you didn't ask, but Jamal Murray in 40 minutes.
I know you didn't ask. I know you didn't care.
I know you didn't ask, but in 40 minutes, Jamal Murray was 4 of 16 from the field, 4-11 from
He
3.
played really bad this
He
year.
had 3 blocks.
14 points and 11 assists.
He had 3 blocks.
What about? Can you look up?
He was
MPJ?
literally a 0 in plus minus. He had no effect on the game.
Can you look up MPJ?
I had him on my fantasy team. He was 17, 5 and 5.
7 of 12.
Probably should have got more shots.
2 of 3.
Listen,
I don't know what's going on. I've been saying this for years at this point. He needs to be a 20-plus scorer.
He is this year. Trust me.
Hold on.
On my fantasy team, he's going crazy. He's averaging 18 and 7.
I'm saying 20-plus. Actually 20-plus. Maybe 20.
Like averaging?
Yes.
They would have to change their play style quite a bit.
The Nuggets completely sold Jokic this year. They completely the front office did horrible by Jokic this year.
Terrible.
Listen, I get it. They get Westbrook to look like they did something, but
They didn't. You know what they think? I think they have a lot of faith in Christian Braun, and they're asking a lot of him, and it's a very large role transition. I know he's leading the league in point average differential. Like he's like a top 5 in like players that are averaging more points than they did last year, and he looks good. But I watched their offense, and like they put the ball in his hands as a scorer a lot, bro.
The Nuggets, they're cheap, man. They were cheap. They completely stole Jokic. When you have a player that great, you go for the chip every year. Every year, you don't cut corners with contract talks and all that. No, you don't do that.
Where's Aaron Gordon? Is he injured?
He's injured, but man, it's the problem is it's so hard to say that now. Into like, I think we gotta do like a whole episode just on the CBA itself. But the problem happened when they paid It's tough, man, because
Jamal.
they paid Jamal Murray
Jamal.
It
Jamal.
was Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Those were
But they
two
paid him
big
years
contracts.
ago. They paid Michael Porter years ago.
No, I think he just re-upped like around the time they got the chip. I think it was a re-up.
No.
He
I
got
think
drafted after
I
Murray,
think
so
Allen's
it makes
right.
sense.
he signed a max, not like mad years ago, but I think he signed it wasn't like last year.
I'll get you.
No,
the
it
year
wasn't
right now.
last year. I think it was like the year they actually got the ship or the summer before.
It was
that.
2021. He signed a 5-year. He signed
Yeah,
a
it was
5-year.
2021.
And what year did they win the chip? 2022.
Yeah.
3. No, they won in 3.
23,
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
he still
They
had a-
locked
he
him.
still
They
had a
locked him
bit.
in years ago.
Paid off in 23.
Right.
Yeah, it did, but I don't know.
So
But
it was
again,
the Jamal contract. Because
yeah,
they
but
had
what you gonna do,
because the
not pay
CBA.
him?
Well, I'm just let's
He's
just
kind of
be-
whack for the money.
to be
he's getting paid
factual.
for
To be
a lot.
factual, when the CBA was becoming a thing, and they had an opportunity to examine what they needed to do, their decision was to pay Jamal Murray. So I'm not lumping the MPJ contract into that.
My thing is this though: you don't let go of a KCP and then don't replace him,
Right.
knowing how
Braun.
important he. No, Braun is not. Braun.
No, I don't agree.
Bruce
I don't
Brown.
agree with that. I'm saying that's what they thought. That's what they
Braun
thought.
was supposed to replace Bruce Brown. If you look at how he played in the year that they won the chip,
Right.
he was playing like Bruce Brown. You don't do it. That's what I'm trying to say. You
I
can find
agree with
another
you.
3-and-D guy in the NBA, man.
It's
Come on.
actually harder than it used to be.
Yeah, but come on, like
It's harder.
it's
than
the
it used to
Nuggets.
be.
You trying to tell me you can't find somebody to join Jokic? That's a 3-and-D guy? No,
Denver's a tough
no.
place,
leave
man.
that.
For the
Denver's a
minimum.
tough place, man. For the men.
Malik Beasley just went to the team he's on right now, right?
Yeah, but his stock was down.
His stock was down,
Yeah.
so that means it should be easy to bring him back.
Yeah, but if you're trying to improve, are you going to pay a player? Are you going to go get a player whose stock is down?
Yeah,
Does that make
because
sense?
because you're not trying to load up on just talent. You're trying to get pieces that fit. He fits.
I know, but I'm saying if you're losing a KCP who's a 2-time champion and a certified starting shooting guard in this league, and you're going to look to replace him, you're going to replace him with a player whose stock is down versus the player on your roster whose stock is rising. I still disagree that Braun was the wrong choice. I'm just saying I don't know if like Malik Beasley is the example of the player they should have got. Like
They should have absolutely got it because he was KCP was a 2-time champion in the Nuggets system. It's still
he
the
was
Nuggets
a one
system.
time. He was a one-time champion in the Nuggets system.
Oh, right. 1-time champion in the Nugget system. You could bring in another guy that plays a similar style, and you should be able to make him be as effective because it's the same system.
But that's what the new CBA is. To Alan's point that he's been on for the last few years, they're trying to incentivize you developing the players you draft into your system and stop doing so much pick and play. So again, I agree with you that Christian Braun, it cannot replace what KCP was. I just think that like the model of like going to get the guy who's selling at a low price but you think fits your system really well and you could plug and play him in is not really incentivized anymore. Like going and paying Malik Beasley the minimum to become the starter on your team when he was coming off benches for the past 2 years and his stock was low, that doesn't read super well when you got a young guy on your team who you were playing heavy minutes in the playoffs who was playing better than Malik Beasley. Like to your point, the style he doesn't fit, but like to rationalize that from a contract standpoint, like we're gonna give a contract to a guy playing bad because we think
But like, why would KCP go at all?
They couldn't.
Because you can't pay him. Because you can't pay him.
Money.
You pay the tax.
And that's always what I stand on. And that's always what I stand on.
I don't.
It's no longer just a tax. That's the issue. It's no longer just a tax. That's the issue.
F them picks.
But like,
it's not the place either. You can't do trades.
Why would you need to trade if you're good?
The thing is,
3 years from now, you may not be good.
You better draft. And
you got no draft pick.
Wait, no, but that's the thing. If you're signing guys to maxes, you shouldn't be thinking of we're not going to be good in 3 years. If I have 3 players on my team who are on 5-6 year max contracts, why would I be bad in 3 years?
30 and under.
Unless one of them I gave the contract to is actually a fraud.
Or injuries happen. So many things can happen.
Yeah, but you can't listen. If you get injuries, it is what it is. You can't hamstring how good your team is gonna be because someone on your team might get hurt and you don't want to be trash.
The Nuggets should be like the Warriors.
If your best player gets hurt, you should just be trash. If your best player gets hurt, you're gonna be trash. That is what it is. Like trying to save your why be a playing team without Nikola Jokic? Does that make sense? Like
I said 3 years facetiously, but it's not 3 years. But at some point,
no, I know, but
it does come.
Dealing in that, I think the principle it's still the same point. 3 years is a good example. If I have 3 max players on my team, I should not be concerned about being bad anytime soon. So to try to protect any kind of recent or upcoming near future drafting or trading potential, I think you're working against yourself. Do you want to be good now or not? Like. Now, if you're a bad team, if you're a bad team, why the hell would I sign 3 max guys? That makes no sense. If we're coming off a chip and I sign 3 max guys and then I need to pay my role players, I'm not planning on being bad and needing to do a trade or draft anytime soon. But to your point, them not paying KCP reveals that is what they're thinking. They're thinking we don't know that this core is going to be good long term. And we have to protect ourselves against that, which goes to my point that last year in the playoffs, that Jamal Murray contract made them think. And they said, we cannot spend money on KCP. We cannot spend money on the Bruce Browns because we might have to make a move in a few years. So I agree with you, but I think it actually highlights something that I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. But just because you are a good team doesn't mean your team is not going to need small improvements. Like just even off the bench. Like look at their bench now. Their bench has not much anything now.
Yeah, no, I know, but the league has clearly made a point to say that these small improvements need to come from player development, which I appreciate, man. Stop the plug and play. Develop your players. So, like, the idea that we got to try to get Christian Braun to become a KCP is not a bad idea. It's just it hasn't happened yet. He's not what he needs to be for them to win this year, and that's unfortunate. But I don't disagree with the model. If you don't think that your core is going to be good long term, so much so that you would pay a KCP, then I think the right move is to try to find the guy you already have that you can coach up.
Well, fair. I actually agree with you to a point, but the point is that I'm going to make this as a declaratory statement. The league's got about 3 to 5 years for everybody else to win a chip. Because in 3 to 5 years, this league's going to belong to Wembanyama and to Anthony Edwards.
Right, but let's not sidetrack. Let's stay where we are.
I'm not sidetracking. Here's the point. Whatever you got to do right now, right, or a team like the Nuggets, you make it happen because Jokic really only has a short window to continue winning. I don't once Wemby hits his prime, I don't see a lot of teams having the success.
It's like mixtape 50. And how it's like New York City when 50 was putting out mixtapes.
Yes.
And all the mainstream sign rappers started flooding the market with albums.
Yes.
We got to get this out of the way now because that man
By the way, you know who was on this? The Celtics. That's why they didn't hesitate to pull
That's why they paid everybody.
That's why they didn't hesitate to pull the
trigger. They paid everyone.
KCP. Like, they went after everybody because they're like, if we're going to win, we're going to go on a run right now, which they probably will for the next 3 to 5 years. And by the time this guy comes in, that's okay. Jason Tatum will probably be in his mid-30s. Jaylen Brown's going to be in his mid-30s. It'll be okay. We have 5 banners up.
To me, it's directly a product of believing in your core or not believing in your core.
Right.
The Celtics clearly believe in their core, and they don't think they're going to be bad anytime soon and need to make a trade or draft. The Nuggets clearly did not think that. And I think because to that point, if Jamal Murray was playing the way his contract says he was this year, does Christian Braun not being KCP, is that that big of a problem? Wait, answer my question. Answer my question.
What's your question? What's your question?
Jamal Murray was playing up to the level of his contract right now. would Christian Braun not being KCP be that big of an issue?
Yes, but not as
long
big.
term, like in the playoffs, yeah. But in the regular season, they'll be better.
If Jamal Murray is who's he's supposed to be,
Yes.
Is it really that big of a problem?
Yes, I think so.
From what standpoint? Offensively?
Yes.
I would say defensively more than anything. Offensively, you didn't need KCP that much when you had Jokic and Murray going.
So, sorry, no. When
spacing, I understand.
I think
I understand. But Braun is not a spacer right now, though. To me,
and that's a problem.
No. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. And
okay.
me and Alan spoke on this when we analyzed the game. Braun is not being relied on as just a spacer right now. He's a scorer for their team. KCP was never relied on as a scorer.
You're right.
So whether or not he's good enough of a threat to be just a spacer, they're not even playing at that level to see that yet.
That's
they're
because
asking
of
him.
Jamal Murray.
They're asking him to be a scorer, which is obviously a problem.
But that's why I said long term.
But if Jamal Murray was playing the way he needed to play, we don't even know if Christian Braun would give you the space you need. I mean, so we don't even have the data to see. Because in theory, the way he shot in the playoffs last year, teams should respect it. So he should be giving you that spacing, but Jamal Murray's not doing anything with it. So now you're asking him to be a scorer. The offense was in possession. I would dare to say, I don't have this in front of me and I'll look it up. In that game, I swear Braun's usage might have been higher than Jamal Murray's. Alan, would you agree just from the eye test?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
That's a problem.
Let me read
actually,
the new CBA. So some bullet points I found from the boardroom, right? All right. The teams whose payrolls rise above the first apron. This is for the first apron. Salary matches and trades have to be within 110% of the outgoing salary. 125 if it's a non-taxpayer club. And teams
Meaning you can't just put cash into the trade to make it work anymore.
And teams can't take more money in a trade that it sends out. Teams can't acquire players and sign trade deals in the offseason if the incoming salary keeps them above the first apron.
Right.
Teams can't sign a player waived during the regular season if his salary exceeds the mid-level exception.
Right.
This will limit luxury tax teams during the annual buyout season, as veterans not dealt before the trade deadline generally look for new teams for the playoffs. That's for the first apron.
Right.
The second apron.
Second apron is tricky.
The second apron is worse. All right. Teams will no longer be able to use the taxpayer mid-level exception. If a team remains in the second apron 3 out of 5 seasons, to Allen's point, their first round pick will automatically move to the end of the round, beginning in the next season. The first round pick 7 years out cannot be traded beginning next season, which a lot of these contender teams, they trade like 7 year, like they trade like 20, 35 picks and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Salaries cannot be aggregated or combined to trade for a single player, making more money.
That was big.
Teams cannot use trade exceptions created from a prior year, and teams can no longer use cash in trades for the second apron. So it hamstrings you. But to Pharaoh's point, if you're trying to win the next 4 to 5 years, it should not matter.
Right.
And then after that now, right, when the player gets old or gets traded or retires or whatever, now you're looking at it like you're just going to be trash and your pick might not even be good.
No, but here's the thing. Look what it protects. You can't trade your pick 7 years out. So it actually protects the team.
But
a team that's
good around them automatically.
But here's my point. All this is doing is reversing gratuitous signing of max contracts. Because that's the thing. If you are signing guys to these kind of deals, you should be good already. Stop giving max contracts to guys just to be a playoff team. You shouldn't even be in these scenarios if you're not a contender. So the idea that, it's going to be detrimental. No, but the first decision was you have 3 max contracts on your freaking team. So if you're in that position, why are you concerned with drafts and trades?
You shouldn't be. No, you're right.
You should not be.
That's fair.
Right? Because if you have three
Yeah,
max
but-
contracts, I would hope that 2 of them are at least for guys that are 25 and under. Meaning you're supposed to be good for the next decade at least. So I'm not, like and that's why I'm saying like I like these rules because the gunslinger ways of the NBA are over. Stop just throwing money at guys just to be good and then paying tax to be great. You got to be great with your max contracts now. Stop signing guys, and that's what I'm saying. Jamal Murray. When I say fraud, I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm saying in terms of this context, for Jamal Murray to be the 3rd max player on your team, probably is looking like a bad decision now.
It is a bad.
In hindsight.
Yeah, but that's what you got to do. Like I'm not, because it's shown now that it wasn't just Jamal Murray and Jokic and solid role players. Jamal Murray and Jokic needed starting level, mid-level salary role players next to them. And you cannot do that if Jamal Murray, Jokic, and MPJ are on maxes, which says that they're not that good if they need mid-level starters next to them, right? If you have 3 max contracts on your team, then like the Phoenix Suns, you should be good enough to have a bunch of minimum level guys next to you.
Okay, I see what you're saying, Pharaoh, but then like, what is the alternative? If you don't sign Jamal Murray to the max or whatever it was he got at the time, what would be the alternative?
Sign him to a contract he's worth, which is non-max.
How do you
He
determine
was
his
worth
worth?
it at the time. I think he was worth the max at the time.
Yeah, but
No, he was worth at the time under the old mindset context where guys like Michael Conley Jr. got $200 million. Right? We got to stop thinking about, we got to reframe who gets a max. Because right now, that bar was super low coming out of 2014. 2014 to 2020, the guys that we said, oh, he deserves a max, that bar was super low. That bar is now high again. Right? The only guys that should be getting max contracts are all NBA guys. If you're not on an all NBA team, why am I giving you a max contract? Why am I paying you $60 million a year? You're not even one of the top 3 players in your position.
because somebody else will give him the max and you lose him for nothing.
Okay, but then that's the decision he's got to make. Do I want to go to the Atlanta Hawks to get $60 million, or do I want to be with the Nuggets, take $40 million so that I can give $20 million to KCP and we win championships? Now the onus is on them. Do what you like. It used to be when Melo went to the Knicks because he wanted the max, he got killed, and then you had to be with the Knicks and deal with that instead of going somewhere else, taking $40 million to be like Braun and D Wade and Bosh did. We all took $40 million equivalent right back then. They weren't on maxes. That wasn't a 3 max team. Dwayne Wade took a pay cut. Braun took a pay cut. Bosh took a pay cut so we could be here together and have enough money to build a championship team. We're getting back to those days, fellas.
I mean, and that's exactly what the Knicks did too.
Right. Jalen Brunson is
yeah.
not on a max contract right now, and he is an all-NBA player. So the fact that Jamal Murray is on a max, yeah, your team is going to have some problems.
Well, I still think they
And I
shouldn't have
think
the problems.
we should close there because we're at time, and I want to talk about the Mavericks beating this team. With the team that won, we should talk about them a little bit. But Paul, take the last point.
We don't care about them.
Paul,
We
take the
don't
last
care
point.
about the Mavericks.
Paul, take the last point on this.
No, I was just saying, like, it still shouldn't matter because, like I said, if they got a guy like Malik Beasley, they'll still look pretty good, right? If Jamal Murray was playing better, they will still look pretty good. So I still think that Jamal Murray's contract isn't hurting them as much as you're making it out to be, but it's more so his production.
But that's the thing. His production is only bad because of his contract. If he was doing this, because look, if he was doing this and they had the money to give him more support so that the guy that is in Christian Brown's spot is a guy that you don't mind relying on as a scorer in your team, you're going to be fine. But right now, like Jamal, your point guard giving you 14-11 is not bad.
No.
That's not bad, but your max point guard can't give you 14-11.
He's not the point guard. Jokic is the point guard.
You know what I mean, bro? I'm just saying.
No, but that matters. The 11 assists from him.
Okay, no. Look, I'm just saying. One of your starters giving you 14-11 is not a problem. One of your starters who's a max player giving you 14-11 is a problem. That's what I'm saying.
His production went down. Therefore, he's not doing his job to the level.
That's what I'm saying. But we're agreed.
No, I know we're agreeing on that. I'm just saying, like, money aside,
No, but if they had more money, they could put more
They could
people
hide
around
him.
them.
No, I'm not with
No,
that.
not hiding. His production isn't bad. It's just if they had the money to give other guys that you could reasonably rely on to supplement it, then you'd be fine.
He's
Then
not
you'd be
doing his job.
fine.
But I don't know. I feel like at the end
We're
of the day,
saying, Paul,
the
we're saying the
Nuggets just
same
did
thing.
exactly.
I know.
We're saying the
It's
same
semantics.
thing.
It's semantics. Yeah.
But just last point really quick. The
Yeah, in
Nuggets did
closing.
exactly what you already said though. You know what I mean? Like they paid their core because they believed in it, and now they don't have like that's what you said before, isn't it?
Yeah. But
so,
that's what I'm saying. They faulted, right? Like they believed in their core. It's not working out, and it is what it is. I'm saying I'm saying that belief was probably wrong. I'm not criticizing them. I wasn't trying to say like, oh, not believing in your core is a bad thing. I'm saying we're seeing the ramifications of that, right? Like maybe they should have evaluated. Because again, I'm trying to hate on Jamal Murray at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay. As long as you can admit that.
Yeah, no. My ultimate point is that like that belief is proven to be
Right.
not being backed up, and so now I'm not mad at like I think they shouldn't have did that, and then they would have had the money to pay KCP because ultimately I'm saying paying KCP. Your point, they needed to do that, and you're saying they can't. I'm saying that's their mistake. The fact that they are unable to keep that unit together, and I think that's the problem. Sometimes when you win, guys think that it's the stars that we got to make sure we keep and max them out when it's the unit. The Lakers made the
Derek
same.
Whites of the world.
Right.
Man.
Derek White got his bag. Jason Tatum got his bag last. Right there. We went over the luxury with the Tatum contract. We locked in Holiday first. As soon as we traded for him, signed him immediately. Derek White, we locked in. Al Horford, we locked in at a good salary. Jaylen Brown, we paid him when we absolutely had to. And then we won the chip. And then Jason Tatum gets his bag. Right? They keep the unit together. The Lakers made the same mistake. We won the championship and we let Caruso walk out the door. We let Kuzma walk out the door. Right? We didn't keep the unit together. Gassing the fact that, any team with AD and Bron on it is going to be good. No, that's not true. It was the unit.
I bet you
right?
Jamal Murray does his job against Anthony Davis still, though.
And that's what gassed him. And that's what gassed him, right? Because you have one mismatch series that you seemingly keep being successful in. Now you got a max contract off of that, when really it was the unit that was the problem, right? Because it was the unit that made Jamal Murray so unguardable against us.
Well,
but let's talk about the Mavs real quick, and then we can get to our final point and try to get out of here on time. What did we learn about the Mavs being able to beat the Nuggets without Luka Doncic?
That the Nuggets suck, bro. I don't know what.
So we didn't learn anything about the Mavs. So Najee Marshall giving you 26 points means
I was
nothing.
going to mention him specifically. He caught game. I like him. He can't.
He's good.
Since
26 off the bench.
That's not what's his name. That's not Derek Jones Jr. over there anymore.
Oh
yeah, I like him a lot. I didn't know too much about him before, but I like him a lot. He's good.
Quentin Grimes giving you the spacing that we begged for in the finals last year.
We know about Quentin Grimes,
right?
We know. Come on.
Derek Lively Jr. 4-4 from the field, giving you solid production and rim
Klay
protection.
Thompson 0 for 8. What the hell is going on?
I was gonna get to that. I was gonna say, what does it look like that they're surviving with Klay Thompson looking like this? The fact that you're getting PJ Washington production, you're shooting, you're getting Kyrie Irving doing what he usually does and looking fine. Like,
I'll tell you what it means. It means that this team, they filled the holes that the team had last year. They made more big moves than getting.
I think we got most of what
it's more than getting Klay. They got defensively. They got wings now.
Yep.
They got reliable shooters now instead of trying to make people who aren't shooters.
Right.
They're going to be very, very dangerous. Very dangerous once again.
Yep.
The West is up for grabs, man.
Does anybody know how long Luka's out for?
No, I didn't catch it.
Let me look it up.
I don't know what happened to him.
As long as he gets in shape by the playoffs.
I mean, he wasn't healthy to start the season, realistically. Like, he just started and I had to. But he's been hurt all year. Something happened between the Olympics and the regular season. I don't know what these players were doing, but something happened.
Yeah.
So
He
Luka's
has a
going to
right-
get reevaluated in about
Yeah.
a week, but they don't know where he's at right now.
It's
He's
a right which that's a tough thing to say. Right. Oh my God.
right
Right wrist strain.
right wrist strain.
Yes.
That was not
It's
hard.
wear and tear, man. I don't know. But
What were they doing? Because some guys look like they came out the Olympics and being in the Olympics kept them in shape, right? Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, and other guys. It looks like going to the Olympics just destroyed their bodies.
Kawhi.
Luca didn't. Luca always starts every year out of shape anyway. And
Fair point.
What does he
You know
do
what I mean?
during the summer? He just drinks beer.
And smokes hookah.
Probably.
Hey, man.
You know they call him Hookah Doncic in the streets.
That's a fact.
I didn't know
That's
that.
hilarious.
No,
That is
that's
a
crazy.
fact.
That's not real.
They call him
That's
Hookah
mad funny.
Doncic.
That's mad funny.
That's mad funny.
So that's all we're taking from the Mavericks is just, the reconstruction looks like it's working.
It's not much to
There's
say
not much more to
because
say without Luka.
I mean, they're top 5 in offensive rating. They're right in at 5 at
they were
116.1.
they were great offensively last year too, though,
I know, right? So they changed their whole roster and they're still right there.
because they got players
their
that
defense.
fit even better. So they're supposed to. Plus, Luka was injured. Clay is up and down. So when you take it into account that they strengthened the whole roster, but still 2 important players are not there, it makes sense that they're level, so to where they were last year.
Andre, to your point, they're top 10 in defensive rating right now. They're at 7.
Now that is actually significant.
Right.
Very, very. I'm less impressed about the offense. I'm very impressed with the defense. That's significant.
The West is up for
Right.
grabs, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
The West is up for grabs. There's nobody who's laying their claim. Honestly, the Lakers look like
there is
the
a
best
team out
in the
west. There are 2 teams out west that are potentially trying to lay their claim. One fell off a little bit: the Lakers and the Warriors. LeBron and Steph Curry. This Olympic, we talked about it before. The Olympic run revitalized the 2 GOATs in the NBA, and they said,
I would say the Suns would look like that too if KD was healthy, because he was looking like
real.
he was on. He was looking like he was on that type of timing as well.
For real, they really came back. They said, honestly, I really think they came in. Now I'm more convinced than ever. Those 4 games that Steph was trash, he was just trying to see who else would step up. And he's like, oh, it's really me.
No. I think
It's really me and Bron.
I think it was practical stuff. I think it was practical stuff. I think it's a different line. It's closer. The ball is different, and also I think he hasn't played Olympics ever, and so I think he had to figure out where his shots were going to come from, and then he had to train for those shots. So it took about 4 games to see, like, okay, these are where my shots are coming from, and once he locked in on that, he became Steph. But I think that's all that was. You got to think about, he's played in one team his whole life, so he literally has always gotten, for the last 6 years at least, he's had a steady diet of the same exact kind of shots. So, like, you get in a new environment, like, it takes a minute to be like, taking shots that you don't take in games ever. Like,
that's my point. The Warriors are 12-3 and the number 1 team in the West right now.
We'll talk about the Warriors soon. They didn't play anyone interesting this week. That's why I didn't want to talk about them. But
fair enough.
We'll talk about them soon. To close out, to do follow up, we had a really nice long pod on what the hell Warner was going to do, how their lawsuit. We had different opinions on whether they were making out a valid claim or not. If it really was just the product of them being lazy. Well, it looks like those lawyers lawyered and got in some back rooms and figured out an agreement that seemingly works for everyone and that they're excited about. And there's a big factor in it that makes us as fans also winners. So to set up the deal, TNT and the NBA came to a settlement agreement on their litigation. TNT is going to receive global rights outside of the United States to continue to produce the Inside the NBA TV show. And also its House of Highlights and the parent company Bleacher Report will also receive global NBA rights outside of the United States. TNT is going to get its own full package of regular season and playoff games, again, for outside the United States. And they're going to extend their partnership for another 11 years. They're also bringing in Disney, which is ABC and ESPN, to partner on this agreement to keep the TNT an NBA partner. And part of that agreement is going to have Disney become the producers of Inside the NBA. The Warner Bros. CEO says these agreements will ensure fans continue to enjoy inside the NBA and create tremendous value for our entire portfolio as we accelerate the growth of TNT Sports, Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, and our global business. This is the first time that those entities are going to have global rights, so they're going to be able to use highlights and develop shows at no additional cost. They're also TNT Sports is also getting the rights to televise Big 12 football games and men's basketball games starting next season, and they're going to be always able to present their select college football playoff games. Yeah, what are we thinking? They found sort of this other category because the suit was about categorical rights, right? And TNT was trying to reclaim categorical rights that went to NBC and ABC, and they were trying to say that the deal that Amazon got for the digital rights, they should have had an opportunity to match it because they have digital rights capacity as well. And the NBA is saying, no, brother, like the Amazon is a strictly digital rights, and you're offering us digital adjacent when you really want cable rights. And so they figured out, you know what, we can give you all the rights that you usually have, but we'll give it to you on the global side. The domestic has already been given, so we'll give you global side to do exactly what you do, just not on American television. But we'll allow Disney to come in, and that was a big move by Disney as well, because they didn't have to do anything because they have the TV rights already. But they said to keep this show going, ESPN is going to let you bring that show over to their cable rights. So we get to keep the show. TNT stays in the NBA sports business. They just become now the global distributor. And Amazon gets to keep being the digital distributor. What do we think about this sort of creative solution that all these parties have come up with?
Well, I think creative is the right word because it is quite creative. And it really, number one, it services fans in a big way. Number one, keeping inside the NBA, which is something every fan was upset about losing. Number two, it works out a way where the digital streaming is not going to conflict with the cable rights, which is huge also because now a lot of what we were talking about last week was how, and I think
it was a couple weeks ago, but yeah,
a couple weeks ago, and I think we talked about, or they talked about on Inside the NBA. No, I'm sorry, it was Gilbert Arenas' show where they were saying it's too expensive right now to up and get cable. Now fans don't have to choose; they have all the options at their availability. And what the NBA just did with securing this deal was ensure that they're going to be the most expansive sport on the planet for years to come. Yep. This is going to be huge for them and huge for marketing. Now, the only thing they're going to have to do after this, and I know this isn't where the part of the conversation is going, but it needs to be, is do something with the product they have now.
Pause that before we go there, because I want to stay on with the point you just made, which was really good, about them being the most expansive sports.
Just sport in general.
But it's more than that. It's provider, if you will.
Provider.
There's a better word, but I'm
sports entertainment provider.
Because if you think about it this way, global distribution, maybe distributor is the better word I wanted to say. Global distribution to this point was primarily through digital. Mm-hmm. So I think that is what the Amazon deal they were banking on, is that the Amazon deal would bring them global distribution through digital, because the streamers are already global, right? Like Amazon, the Netflixes, the Hulus of the world, those are global distributors. So bringing NBA to Amazon did allow now for the global audience to tap in with the NBA in a way that made sense, because I think ESPN is global, but I don't think TNT was. So if you're a global person, the only way you were getting NBA games was either you had to sign up for League Pass, or you're staying up till 1 a.m. or waking up at 6 a.m. to catch the game on ESPN, right? That was the only way you could watch games. Now you can stream it at your leisure on Amazon just with your Prime account that you already have. And now a veteran TV network, Warner Brothers, a veteran global distributor, is now going to bring a full package of regular season playoff games to the global audiences, which means TNT is going to set up global television distribution to bring you NBA games. So now not only do domestic fans not have to choose, your global fan now has your options. That I think is novel. I don't know any other than movies. I don't know any other content movies and streaming TV shows, right? Like the TV shows that are being developed in the Hulu studios, in the Netflix studios, etc. I don't know any standardly cable product, right? Something that's usually primarily on cable and on television. I don't know any product like that that has global access like that and a global audience. This may be the first one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this may be the first one.
See, all right.
Well, maybe telenovelas, but that's
maybe, yeah.
When you read that, what I thought about was the in-season tournament, and here's why.
Great.
Last year.
I'll keep going.
Because you remember what TNT and ESPN did in the in-season tournament?
What specifically are you thinking about?
They shared the broadcast together. And on TNT, they had NBA Countdown, the crew, simulcast, like literally.
Oh my God, you're so right. You're so right. They did crossover for the first time.
It was like with Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy.
Yeah, Power Hour, Timmy Power Hour. Nah. The real.
That was the craziest thing I ever saw.
The real OGs know. The real OGs know. No, the greatest crossover of our lives. The real OGs know. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven.
I know that one.
That was the one. That was the one.
But the Fairly Odd Parents.
That's not the greatest crossover of our lives, but keep going.
What's the better crossover? Real quick tangent. I'll let it happen for 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. The greatest crossover our lives is when they did Crisis of Infinite Earth on CW. That was a.
I said our childhood. I said
you said our life. You said our life.
Andre, that wasn't a crossover because those all existed in the same universe anyway.
No, it was a crossover because they all existed on different Earths.
It was.
Hold on. Here's what. If you watch the whole thing, the 5-year run.
Andre, I watched the whole thing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, they connected.
Can I explain the difference?
Hold on. They connected every show, movie, and just separate entity into one collected universe, which has never happened before for DC.
But do you know why that's not a crossover? It's a crossover in terms of characters from another show appearing on each other's shows.
Correct.
But for several years before that, were not all those shows considered a part of the Arrowverse?
No, they weren't. That's fair.
So it's not we already associated all these people with each other already.
But we didn't because we never.
We did. We did distinctly because we called it the Arrowverse.
It was just called the Arrowverse because it was made by the same creators. It was the same.
That's not why we said it. That's not why we said it.
Because Arrow wasn't on each of those shows.
But we had seen them across each other's shows already, just not all of them.
Nah, it wasn't.
Barry and Oliver already linked.
That's true.
Black Lightning, and what's his face already linked.
Ooh, Black Lightning. That was actually the biggest one because he didn't link with nobody.
No, you're right. It was one of the. I didn't watch Superman and Lois, but they linked with somebody.
No, Superman and that's the other thing. Superman and Lois is
didn't Barry and Superman and Lois link already?
No.
Yes, they did.
No,
yes, they definitely did.
Superman and Lois is its own separate entity. There's a different Barry with a different Lois and a different Superman. It's a whole different thing.
The Superman that came in Crisis though had already met Barry for a fact.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Same thing with Batgirl. Batgirl had met Barry already. So that's what I'm saying. It was all Arrowverse anyway, bro.
It was a 5-year run to set this up.
It was beautiful, but we're talking about like literally bringing like people that aren't like different universes, not associated with each other at all into. All right, that's our 2 minutes for our nerd. That's our 2 minutes. That's our 2 minutes. That's our 2 minutes.
Anyway, like I was saying,
last example, TNT and NBA Countdown talking into the NBA was more like Deadpool coming to Marvel than it was Doctor Strange meeting the Hulk.
Okay, fair.
Doctor Strange meeting the Hulk is a crossover, but it was the same universe. But when Deadpool came to Marvel, it's like, oh, you see what I'm saying?
Good. That's a good. Batman, Invincible, but keep going.
But the thing about the Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents one though was that it's 2 different animation styles. Right. So as a kid, I was like, how is this gonna even look?
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what TNT and ESPN too, because they are 2 different production styles.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So
they had Malika Andrews sweating.
Yes, they did. Chunk of them was.
He was like, "Yo, y'all talk like this on live television, yo."
They brought the TNT. Yeah.
Yeah, because
But
TNT, I mean, under the umbrella of FCC, TNT's like boundaries in terms of talk, they have different rules in ESPN. The Disney keeps their product very tight.
Yes.
Whereas Warner lets the talent go right up to FCC guidelines.
They be
like
cursing on CNN.
right up to it, bro.
Donald Trump cursed and said these SO countries, they be cursing on CNN like crazy though. Like, it's crazy.
FCC guidelines are not as strict as some networks would lead you to believe. But it's Disney that has extra rules. Like,
yeah, that's a fact. But to wrap it up though,
yes,
because some people would say, right, that this shows that Disney's being kind to TNT and blah. But then some people would say
it benefits them too. Like,
that's what
if not more.
Right. Some people would say that inside the NBA, being on ESPN
100%.
benefits ESPN way more. Right?
100%.
I say that it shows that unlike a lot of industries, these entities know, and we saw this in the in-season tournament, that they need each other.
Yeah,
they know that they need.
It's an ecosystem.
They're not they have a little competition, yeah, but it's not to the level where they're gonna shoot them. They're not gonna Plaxico birds themselves. They rather come together and each other and make a stronger, beneficial connection, which is honorable. So, and listen, inside the NBA would have been done if this had happened.
Yo, but here's what I'm gonna say. Just
inside the NBA still, and we're still bringing back NBA on NBC. So now we have both. So it's great.
NBC's
like Andre said, the product. That's the last thing. Though.
And we'll get back into it. Just to clear up the back end. To my understanding, and again, I haven't read the settlement agreement. I'm gonna try to look for it before next week. But the wording of the article at least says that Inside the NBA is going to appear on Disney networks, which means that it's still owned. They're going to eat off it. They're going to eat off it, but Warner still owns it. So I think Warner still eats the most, and the contracts for the talent are still Warner contracts, which is the last thing I want to touch on, because me and Andre got on that a lot about what is the talent going to do. Now the talent doesn't have to choose. The talent stays on their Warner contracts, but gets the airtime they need with the people that have the TV rights.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know about is in-game commentary talent. What happens to them? Are they going to broadcast on the global broadcast? Because that's the only TV rights that TNT has. And they don't have digital rights right now outside of Bleacher Report and House of Highlights, which is just highlight farming and some shows that they're going to develop. Do they put their on-air talent for games on those platforms, or do they let those guys walk to join ESPN or NBC?
What I'll say is we don't know, but at least we know based on this deal that anything can happen.
Agreed.
Like the TNT.
Well, no, we don't know, because there's nothing in this about game broadcasting. ESPN has not put out that they're going to allow Warner contracted on-air talent for game broadcasts to appear on ESPN broadcasts.
But my point is that they're willing to work intimately together to make it work based on this deal.
And that's false.
How does that work though? Because if ESPN has their own roster, where do you even fit in TNT talent on broadcasts? So you start mixing and matching it like they did with the Cup. That's what I thought you were getting to with the Cup. That we're going to hear eventually. The next step of this is that they're doing the same thing for TNT game broadcast talent. That like you're going to see the Reggie Millers and the Marv Alberts and the Kevin Harlets appear on ESPN, right? But they're not in this deal. So does Warner does Warner do a bidding war for like licensing their game broadcast talent to these guys? Is that the next step?
No.
So I don't think they even can do that, because with the international thing.
Yeah, who's going to do the broadcast?
It's not, and that's the thing. I don't think it's like a regular like broadcast like they've been doing. I think it's more so like.
But they've made pretty clear they're looking to develop these shows into full-fledged shows.
Yeah, full-fledged shows, but I'm saying with the showing the games, I don't think that's going to look the same as it did. I don't think
they probably should hire local, right? They
probably.
Otherwise, you got to put subtitles or translate it.
Yeah, they're going to hire locals, or it's just going to be like a simulcast type situation.
No, I think they're going to do full production. I think they've made that pretty clear. I think they're
I
going to
don't
do full
know.
production. I think you're right about Bleacher Report, House of Highlights. I think they'll probably keep that domestic and pare it down for global consumption. But I think if you're doing you're getting a full package of regular season playoff games. You're not gonna not fully produce that.
We'll see, but I can't imagine they're just going to do full broadcast for because it's not even like all of Europe. It's literally just a certain amount of countries. But what I was gonna say is like I'm sure like the broadcast roster has somewhere in their contract that if we're not like broadcasting games, I have that's out of my I have like an option to leave because I'm sure they're not just locked in no matter what. You know what I mean?
I don't
So
know
I feel
about
like
that. I think non-compete, like me and Andre were saying, was probably a big part of their contracts.
No, it has to
yeah,
be.
not
It
compete
has to
if
be.
not compete if we're showing games, but like they're not. There's nothing to compete with anymore. We're out of business. We're not broadcasting games anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that's
Would that be
written in there
like
somewhere.
frustration of purpose? If there's no way for me to do my job, then the contract is null and void.
Exactly. I'm sure that's written in there somewhere. Because again, since he will be
But
broadcasting
here's
games,
how
but
Warner would argue that legally. You
well,
cannot say we don't have TV rights anymore. We have TV rights and we have broadcast. So we always have the option to be able to put you on our global, which means this contract is not null and void, which is definitely why I think they're going to develop full production just to keep their contracts with their talent valid.
that's
And then
a lot of money to waste.
and then
I
negotiate.
don't
No,
think
because
that's gonna be good.
then you negotiate licensing to allow those guys to appear domestically on the ESPNs or the NBCs. And I think Warner Brothers Warriors, that's their next mission. They just pull off a big win. I think their next mission is like, okay, we've negotiated one of our shows appearing. Do you want to negotiate some of our broadcast talent appearing as well?
That's the thing to me too. I don't think this is a big win for them. I think this is
Oh, it's
to me.
huge.
No, I think this is desperate. This is not a win. This is we take a little
That's
bit that we can.
interesting. That's
Let
interesting.
me put it to you this way. Because if I break it down, the contract sounds to me they're trading away their NBA games to get back a bunch of college football and basketball games.
But they didn't trade it. They lost it anyway. They were about to be ass out.
Yeah, that's my point. This is
the suit was to try to get anything, and the NBA's position was we don't owe you anything, and they're walking away. They're walking away now with something. That's a win.
That's my whole point. That's not a win to me. That's we're about to lose. So let me just try to get any little bit I can before I'm asked out.
Can I tell you where the win is? Because it's to your point. Remember why they lost everything? Because they weren't willing to meet the price point, and then Amazon came in and beat them out. First of all, ESPN and NBC beat them
out. That's what I think. And then they did it. Talking about, they're not going to do.
No, you know why though?
Because they're broke already.
I'll read you this right now. The biggest part of the deal is that they got these rights at no cost. Right now, this marks the first time Bleacher Report and House of Highlights have global rights. TNT Sports can use highlights and develop shows at no additional costs. So they skirted paying what ESPN and NBC paid for TV rights because the NBA didn't have a global partner yet. So the NBA has just given them the global rights in settlement of the suit. They're not paying for them.
But I don't think the global rights and the right on a contract is nowhere near the amount of money.
The biggest thing, though, but think about it. The biggest thing was they were about to lose their right to use NBA content at all for anything. And now they have NBA content for global and their digital distribution between House of Highlights and Bleacher Report for no cost.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think that cost is like so. That's not a huge win to me because I don't.
That was the biggest thing. The reason they lost to NBC is because they weren't willing to meet the price point.
The price point of the games, not the highlights and everything that you're talking about.
Yeah, but they're getting the game. They're getting the games for free too now.
It's not technically for free. It's not a big loss to them.
They settled it though. Here's what I'm saying.
Yo, hold on. I think we're. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think we are belaboring this point a little bit.
No. I just because I feel like it's not coming across clear. I'm not trying to convince Alan what I'm saying. His responses are sound like maybe either I'm saying something wrong or he's not hearing what I'm saying. The way I understand, because I want to clarify from my own understanding. The way I understood the pathology of how he got here is that the contracts were expiring, and the NBA is saying, okay, here's the price point, bid for the cable rights. We always have two TV right partners, bid for it. ESPN locked in immediately. Disney said, whatever the price point is, here it is. Warner dragged their feet, and NBC made the offer and locked it in. So now cable rights are off the board. And now the only thing that was up for grabs were digital rights. Amazon made an offer. Warner's contract allowed them to match it, and they did not match it. And the dispute was that the contract that Amazon signed was designed for a way that Warner was unable to ever match it. Then now they were suing about that, right? So right now they have no rights after the season for anything NBA, no content, no games, no highlights, no nothing. They now come out of this from that situation where they didn't want to pay what NBC was paying for games, and they didn't match what Amazon was matching in digital because they couldn't. Now they get digital in their own way with the infrastructure they already had set up. They didn't have to create something similar to Amazon to get digital. They have whatever they already had. Bleacher Report, House of Highlights. They get digital for that, and they get full package of games, and they did not have to pay anything. How does that not? To me, that reads as a win. Now you don't get to play any of that stuff in America, granted, but you get it for free.
Because I don't think they get like digital streaming of games on Amazon. I mean on.
No, they don't get streaming of games, but they get the right to digital content distribution through House of Highlights and Bleacher Report. That was not on the table. That was not on the table before.
So that just means like the highlights and stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they've said that with that right on House of Highlights and Bleacher Report, they're going to develop shows.
Yes. So my
this
thing
is what I'm saying. They were going to have no product that they with NBA content.
I agree.
They were going to have nothing with NBA content at all. Now, for no cost, for nothing, they're paying nothing. Now they're having the right to content from NBA in the form of highlights and video to develop shows around on their House of Highlights and Bleacher Report programming, and they're getting a full slate of regular season playoff games to distribute on their global platform.
I think there's a fine line.
For nothing. For nothing.
Here's where I think you're wrong, though. I think they were always going to develop the content and stuff because
they didn't have it. They didn't have it.
Yes, they would.
All they you gotta wrap this up. That's the
all they had to do was buy the licensing to use like the highlights and stuff. They're always going to use it because the whole thing was. Because I remember the whole thing.
Alan, this is what I'm saying. They were bought out of.
Farrell, hold on.
No, but I understand what he's saying. They were that what you're talking about. They were the way that I read the whole contract. Right, the way it's set up, those rights fell under digital, which Amazon completely got. They were going to have
digital streaming rights to the games.
No, but I understand what you're saying. For Warner to have any right to any NBA content, they had to fall under the agreement, right? There was no side agreement because the agreement is exclusivity, right? That was the whole point of the setup, right? Because what you're saying is the same thing as saying they could have paid for the license to games. No, because the way the NBA's agreement is set up, they hold it tight. They're saying once we assign these rights, these are going to be the exclusive holders of these rights. So once NBC got the second spot, the NBA agreed we will not negotiate these rights with any other partner. That was the whole digital category. The whole digital category Amazon got, which would have been exclusive. Warner would have had no ability to negotiate into anything. They couldn't negotiate into digital. They couldn't negotiate into TV, which is why they were saying we had the right to try to match Amazon to try to retain something of a right to any NBA content, because the way the NBA agreement is set up, it's exclusive. So no, they would not have been able to get back into NBA business at all. That's where they were. They were going to be asked out of NBA content completely.
No, that's where I think you're wrong, because I agree with you. They were going to be asked out of content and stuff like that up until, because all these other places do it. We have more than one sports.
All the places you're about to name are Warner.
No. Let me finish. What I'm trying to tell you is, like, when you look on YouTube and stuff, what the NBA does, aside from the contracts you were just talking about, what other companies do is they pay the NBA licensing deals to use the highlights.
Name the companies.
That's what companies. I don't know off the top of my head.
Because if you look at
let me land.
Not bad.
Let me land. What I'm trying to say is, Warner was then going to have to so look, TNT and all of them was still going to be around. The whole question was going to be is what does TNT inside TNT do now that it can show NBA games? What they're trying to figure out was now we gotta make NBA content or use like a TV show around the NBA, but not actually show the NBA games. So what Warner was going to have to do is just pay for a license agreement, not for digital, but just for highlights and for highlights, just to be able to have a TV show. What I'm saying to you now is I don't think this is a huge win because all that is to them is just cutting a check. That's what other companies do. It's just you pay money for highlights, and now you have like TV shows you could base that off of.
So here's
all
the two
Turner
things.
did now is they just got that for free. I don't think that's a big win. That's not a lot of money to do that.
So
from what I understand.
Two things I want us to double check, and we'll come back and address this on the next pod. I think if you go actually look at the companies that are distributing the highlights you're talking about, you will realize that they all fall under the umbrella of the parent companies that were a party to the agreement before the new one. Like the one that's expiring this year, every entity that you see with licensed NBA content in any form is a subsidiary of one of the companies that are party to the agreement because it was an exclusivity contract. That's my understanding. I want us to actually do research and go look, because every YouTube, any page that has it, I think you will find is a subsidiary, because even the YouTube game highlight culture, there used to be a bunch of YouTube creators that were doing that. Those don't exist anymore. All of those people had to become partners of one of the existing entities. NBA started putting up their own highlights on YouTube of full games, and any other platform that does it, it's typically either a House of Highlights or Bleacher Report product or a Disney product. ESPN can put stuff up, and Bleacher Report and House of Highlights can put stuff up, which is Warner. If there's a company out there that I'm unfamiliar with that somehow has a right, they became a partner. They're an ESPN. They're a Disney partner. They're a Disney partner.
Wow.
They're a Disney partner.
Wow. It's
So
like that.
that's what I'm trying to say, bro. Every subsidiary, every company you see had to become a subsidiary of one of the exclusive partners to the agreement. That was one of the main parts of the agreement, was that we're going to have 2 spots for TV, and they were adding one for digital. And that's what it was, that we were not licensed to anyone. That was the benefit of the agreement. You're going to pay us, and the thing you get back is not only the licensing agreement and the distribution, but the exclusivity of it, so that anyone that wants this has to come to one of your platforms in one of its forms. If I'm wrong about that, I could be wrong. But when I went through the whole contract and the lawsuit, that was my understanding of it. Let's do research to see if that's wrong. Because, Alan, would you agree, if I'm right about that, this is a huge win?
Maybe. I don't think it's
for next time.
They lost.
I will say
for next time.
You're not saying nothing. Keep it for next time.
Inside the NBA is alive. I think that's a huge one.
Yes.
You said what?
Inside the NBA is alive. That's a huge.
That's a huge win for the fans and everything. Yes, for sure. That's a huge
for them too. I mean, they still own the product. So that's any ad deals that come off that, anything that comes out of that, viewership numbers, like. But that was a really good talk.
For it, but weird.
That was a really good talk. I really do want to do that research and come back to it. I'm going to read the whole contract again. And I encourage you.
We're going to have a live debate about the CBA, Pharaoh versus Allen. It's going to be a whole event.
No, but I don't disagree with Allen with the CBA. I just think that teams need to operate differently according to the CBA, because I actually
will be doing a versus.
I like the new CBA. I like it. Great talk, y'all. We didn't give them 2 hours. We kept it close to 1.5, which is what I was hoping for.
Nice.
I was hoping to keep it close to 1.5. Catch us next week. You only get this kind of content breakdown here.
Hold on. We have an announcement.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're doing the announcement, guy.
I'm doing it. Is it my announcement?
Check the back chat.
No, I see it. I make the. Oh, I guess I'm host. I have to make the announcement.
I mean, I can do it, but I'm not.
Now, let me do it.
I wasn't given the details of this announcement.
All right, let me
prep me as host to announce it.
Let me do it.
Go ahead. Oh, you can go.
Where's my cue cards and my teleprompter?
Check the chat, guy.
A lot of
you want to put the word in the chat so I can say it?
Listen, A lot of you have been asking for this, asking me specifically for this for years now. You get your wish. We will now allow call-ins on fast breaks.
With caveat, all right? Don't come up here and start saying some nonsense and saying all kinds of.
We will hang up on you. We will bang it on you.
If you say more than 2 positive, not us. You don't get to stay on.
Not even that. This is on a serious note. This is a PG-13 podcast for the most part. Following FCC guidelines and also content guidelines. We all have careers. Some of us have very heavy consequences that come with public representation for our careers. So, like, if you understand it as a privilege, if you come up here, we will be banging on you and banning you if you violate those guidelines. So just be clear.
So this is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to work going forward. The link will be in the comments and the description of the YouTube. So if you want to join, you have to click on the link. You're going to enter the waiting room, and then you come in, you say your piece. We don't know if we're going to allow too much back and forth yet because we want space for.
We'll work on it.
Do we want to do it this live, or do we want to have them like leave us voice notes and we sift through those and read some of them out on?
Nah, we can do it live. We can
figure it out. We figure it out.
We can do it live.
Y'all better behave yourselves out there if we bring you on this platform live.
You can come out easy.
Listen,
let's discuss that. Let's discuss that.
Here's the guy. No cursing.
Unless you're me.
No hate speech.
Facts. No hate.
No hate speech.
Or hate speech.
Watch what you
fellas,
say.
Fellas, live is live. We cannot stop something once someone says it. Once someone says it. No, but once we are live, if they say it on our live airways, it was said on our live airways. So let's discuss this.
I mean, I said to check the back chat. I need everybody else is like, we with it.
Some form of crowd participation is coming soon. We'll see you next week. This has been Fast Breaks. We out. Light it up.
Fast breaks, yeah, we coming with the takes. Never early, never late, but we always push the pace, yeah. And we really study tape, y'all just view the highlights, man, we really watching games, yeah. You just watch from the stands, we run 3-man weeks, Paul, Dre, and Allen, yeah. Way more than a fan, we got love for the game, we don't have to pretend. Got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. I'm the run the fast break, throw me the outlet. Yeah, we got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. Time to run the fast break, throw me the outlet.